Hey, so you're the only student today? Oh, okay. Here come Melissa. I was like, what's going on today? I only got
How
one
you
person
doing?
told me they wasn't coming. How are you?
I'm a little frustrated, but I'm all right.
Frustrated for
Yep.
something else?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you. Well, I hope everything gets on track.
Me too.
Hey, Melissa,
Hi.
what's up?
Sorry, I was fighting with my Wi-Fi.
No problem. Today has been I had a class to teach earlier today for my work and had to switch off of Zoom twice and finally had to use Teams because it kept having problems.
Hmm.
So, they're a rival now because so many people
Yeah.
use, Zoom, and now Teams trying to be like Zoom and blah blah blah. They're updated their features and stuff. So,
Okay, I got a question. I
uh,
bought one of these things. How do
uh-huh.
you get? I don't know how to put this in here.
Okay, so which one is yours from your camera?
This is from my camera.
All right. Does it have one slot or is there an additional slot?
It has 5 slots. So I got the smaller one
Okay.
in, but I'm trying to put this big one in.
Wait, what's the smaller one in? What do you mean?
I don't know. There's 2 things in my
There's
camera.
2 in your camera. The small one is it. So that's an adapter, and the small one fits into the adapter to be in your camera.
So I don't need this one.
So you don't need the big
Oh,
one. That
okay.
stays in your camera. The little
Okay.
one should have everything on it. So check that.
Okay.
So when you connect the wire to your computer, you should see what's on that little one.
Okay.
And Kathy's not going to be here. Her husband's birthday today. So we say, shout out to you. Happy birthday. And I'll be sending this recording. And if
I
you
was
want to
looking
go ahead
forward
and
to her
start.
pictures.
Yeah, me too. Me
Oh
too.
no, you don't. Oh my gosh.
No,
Looking forward
Kathy's
to
picture.
Kathy's
I
pictures
wanted to see
too.
another bird's nest.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
great.
We might
It
see
was a really good picture too. So
it'd be a lion trap. Or like, whoa, we see a kitty trap. It's like, no, baby, that's a lion trap right there.
I saw this cage at the
I saw
park.
this cage. It was just sitting there. I thought it looked so cute. It's like, step away from the cage.
oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
I
So
feel
since
like
you're,
her camera does I mean, for her to get that picture, she must have like a really amazing lens.
she has double lens, and she did use her longer lens, which was good. So yeah, she used her I think a 75mm lens versus a 55mm lens. So
Oh, well then mine must do that. I have a
you
like
probably can.
four
You
four
have 4
lenses.
lenses, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that came with the camera, which I
yeah.
thought was pretty nice. There's this
Mhm.
one where it only has like a yellow tinted lens. Like it's everything looks golden. It's
Golden. It might be used for golden hour, which I'll be sharing what golden hour and blue hour are in a minute. And today we're gonna
okay.
start off on focus, but we're gonna see what you got first. So, Taya, did you
I plugged it in. I don't know what I'm supposed to do after that.
All right, so you plugged it into your
Mhm.
computer. So, just like finding a file folder, look
Okay.
for the look for the files, and you're gonna see it's gonna say DCIM, or it might just be a general file.
Okay.
So you just gotta look at that real quick.
Oops. Oh, what happened?
Just a second.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Mm.
Yeah. Well. All right. Drive safe. Let me know you got there. All right. Love you. Okay, so you see, what do you see when you look in your files?
I don't see anything. I'm still trying to find a file.
Okay, so you plugged in the receiver, right?
Yes.
All right. So right now with it plugged in, you should see whatever the name of it is.
Mm-mm.
It, your laptop should read that you added something to.
All right, let me pull it out and put.
Pull it out and then put it back in. You should see a, like
What I had to do was minimize everything and then it pops up on the screen.
Okay, let's see. Minimize.
Like when you
yeah.
plug
If
it
you
in.
got any other windows open, you definitely want to minimize those windows
Okay, that's probably all right. Let me close that.
because it's probably there, but you couldn't see it.
Close that. I don't see anything. I see the Zoom circle. Then I see something that says my HP, that little basket that has 4 little squares in it. I see a file, but I don't.
All right. Well, what we're looking for is a drive first, because that folder, that file, is on that little card, and that card is inserted into the drive. So we got to find the drive.
Okay.
When you plug the drive up, the computer should have found it and said E drive, C drive, D drive, F drive, or something.
No, unless I'm not doing it right, and I don't.
It should go in easy. You should not have to force it at all.
Okay, so I have 3 little slots on the side of the computer. Does that matter which one it
Mhm.
goes in?
Well, sometimes it does, because you'll have one. It should go in just like you put your headset in.
Okay, so I got it in. I don't see
Okay.
anything on here.
All right. So once you put it in, you should see a file folder on the bottom of your different, like, do you see a file folder at all?
Nope. The only one I see, I guess, is what comes on
Can
the
you share
computer.
your screen?
Sure.
Make sure you can share your screen. All right, down at the bottom, you see a little file folder?
Yeah, I see this one, this yellow one.
Yeah, click that.
That's what I did.
All right, over on the right-hand side, left-hand side, you
Okay.
see gallery. You see that thing that says North Pole, right?
Yes.
Okay, so down there underneath there it says network. So just no, don't go into pictures. Just we need to find the drive. So the little keep going down. What's below that? Says 6 items. Hit network. Network discovery files turned on. All right, click PC. Click on the menu.
This,
No, that's your okay. That's your devices. What's North Pole?
that's something for my daughter-in-law. That's her
All
mess.
right, so where it says this PC, there's a little squiggly line next to it. Is there a drop down menu beneath it there, on this PC?
Oh, sorry.
Because it says 6 items. I only see 2. All right, so that's Windows. Go to network, do the same thing. Click on the edge. Okay, so it's not showing there either. All
So
right.
if you go, do you know where your Wi-Fi is at the bottom of your menu screen?
Yeah, down on the right hand corner.
Wi-Fi there.
So there should be like a um
Icon.
like an arrow where you can see more. Don't
No.
double click the Wi-Fi, just down at the bottom. I can't see it, but
Next to the cloud, go to the right. Let me go to the left, one more
yeah, and
over.
click on the arrow.
Click on the arrow. Yeah, it's not showing.
Huh.
It's not showing her
Well,
files.
mine, when I put my memory card thing in, mine automatically went to the pictures. So
Yeah,
maybe if you double
something's
click on
happening
the
where
pictures thing
it's not discovering her.
on the left.
Network discovery and file sharing are turned. Oh, you got it turned off. Okay,
That's turned off.
so it says network discovery and
And
file
file
sharing are
sharing.
turned off. Network computers and devices are not visible. Click to change. So click that yellow. Yeah, click that. Turn on network discovery. Yes. And there you go. All right. So let's see if it comes up. Yeah, go there. It's still not on the PC. Go to PC again. This PC. It's the only thing it's showing is the Windows. All right. So let's see
Oh,
if it
should I pull it out
automatically
again?
shows. Yeah, pull it out one more time and see if it shows up on the list, because it should show up on the list.
It had to be me because me and computers do not get along. Oh my gosh.
Because it should show up whether you put the little thing in there or not. The card. You took it out already?
It's already put it back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So the
not
thing that
showing.
went away that came back up was that North Pole thing. So maybe hit the little arrow next to that. Maybe your pictures will be under there. Like double click the pictures now.
On the.
There you go.
All right. So none of those are today's date, so that wouldn't be it. It's not going to be there. It would have today's date because you just opened it today. So something's not happening with your thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not computer savvy.
No problem. Let me see. Take it out again. And let me point it up so I can see up on her. All right. So all you have is just the USB, right?
Yeah, this is it. I just bought this
Okay.
today.
Now that the big one that you had, does it fit in that tall slot at the back at the top? The big
It
slot?
does, but I don't know how to get it in. It won't. It's got all these little prickly things on the
Yeah,
inside.
it's gonna go either one way or the other. It's upside down or the other way. Let's see if maybe in your case it has to be in there, that slot. So take the baby one out, the little one, put it back into that one, and then let's put that one in the top slot. And it should go in nice and easy one way or the other. You gotta flip it upside down, or it shouldn't be that difficult once you figure out which side is the right side. Sometimes those prickly things go up and sometimes they go down.
Okay.
Did it go in? Okay, now
No, it's not going in.
it's not going in either way.
Nope.
Okay. We're gonna do one more thing. Separate everything from it and just put the driver on, and let's see if it even reads the driver. And you said you just bought that driver?
Yep, I just bought it today.
Okay. And you don't see no changes when you just plugged it up, right?
Nope.
All right. Now, you asked earlier, does it matter which one of those things? Yes, sometimes it does. Sometimes each port is for certain things. So do you have a port that is, it will have, like like a squiggly line, like a lightning bolt or something. Like on mine, I have 1, 2. My second one has a dot on it. So see if you have any kind of indicator on those ports. Because how many ports do you have? 2, 3, or 4?
Actually, it's 4. It's 1 little one and then 3
I'm
regular
saying
size
that's
ones.
the same size as a USB port.
Yes.
Do you have
And
any kind of like dot or squiggly line or anything on any of them?
I can't see.
Some are specific for media.
Okay, one moment.
Others are for like anything. So
I put my flashlight on because I can't see.
this is the last thing that we could try. After that, we won't be able to do
no,
it.
they just say it looks like a cord next. Actually, it looks like the cord that I have for my tablet.
Try that. Because it might be a media cord. It might be just for media.
Where is that cord? Yeah, it's shaped. It's shaped like, I don't know if you can see it, like this on the side here, but this is for my tablet.
Oh yeah, okay. No, that's just letting you have access, different access. I was saying if you had a USB port and one of your USB ports had some kind of indicator on it that shows that it's just for media. Because
No,
some of
well,
them are set up that way depending on how old your laptop is or how new it is.
no, this
But
is
it
my
seems like
daughter-in-law. She let me
it
borrow
seems
it.
like, is she there at all? Maybe she could help you.
She lives in a different
All right.
household.
Okay, no problem. All right, well, we're gonna have to
Move on. I know.
table
Go
that.
ahead.
Yep, and we'll have to figure that out. So it's only 3 of us. I didn't get a call that anyone else besides Kathy wasn't gonna be here, but Jasmine didn't say yes she was coming or not. She might show up later. But let's go ahead, Melissa, and share your photos, and then we'll go from there. And you can go ahead and you can share your screen, Melissa.
Okay, let me just bring up my photos here.
So do you have your cord that goes directly to your camera, Taya?
It won't. That cord, I don't think that goes to that camera. And
Oh, so it
my
won't
spouse
go
said
directly.
he had. I don't know. I have no
Okay.
idea.
I was gonna say maybe you can go
Okay,
directly
can
from the
you
camera.
see my?
Yes, I see your Christmas tree.
Yes. Okay. So these first 3 are with the manual
Okay.
settings. Great. Now
And
I'm gonna go. Ugh. Okay. There's the second one.
if you hover up near the top, you might in the middle of the photo at the edge, there should be a little come down midway, halfway between. Usually there's a excuse me. There's
Oh,
usually
here it
a
is. It
little
popped up now.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And that way you can kind of advance from there.
And then the second one, sorry, I gotta look at my little dial here. Would be the AV function.
Mm-hmm.
These 3. And then the next is the TV, the next 3 photos. And then the program mode.
Mm.
Then the last are the auto mode, which the flash popped open and everything.
Okay, because it was on low light
Yeah,
and
it was,
the camera said, hey, you don't have enough light.
yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this like really changes the photo here with this bright flash.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my
It's
all
filling
my
the
modes.
it filled all the color. If you notice, most of your photos were yellow
Uh-huh.
because of the type of light you have and the red cart, the red, uh, the red thing underneath the tarp
Yeah.
or whatever. And it was only reading those lights. I'd be interested in seeing what you would do on manual by opening that ISO a little bit even more. What
So
was your
I
ISO
tried to
on?
like play with it, but it's just too dark.
Mm-hmm.
It kept just getting darker when I would go up, and then when I went down, it was I couldn't get it to go right in the manual
Go.
mode.
I'm just curious. What's the setting numbers? So remember how to find the information.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that's my water picture. Okay, so how do I
Go to the three dots,
three dots, yes. And
and
then
then go to. I should say. Wait. Go up a little bit more. Image, resize. All right. I don't see it. Right click on the photo
okay,
and then go to file info. Up. Yep, right
this
there.
one. Okay.
Yep. And let's
Okay.
see what you have.
See, I turned it all the way down in this one, and it just, I don't know, maybe like the green, because my wall's kind of like a light green, maybe the green on the green. It was just
Yeah, I mean you're at a F8
really, yeah, that's
125, which is a
nice.
low speed, which gave you enough time to open. And you had 16,000 on your ISO. And you said that's your highest number, right?
Yeah, and that's the one where it came out the best.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe it's just the light in my living room is not very bright
Mm-hmm.
because I just
But
have
you
a
should,
fan light, so it's like not.
okay. And because of that, it kind of it gave you as much light as it could. I mean, the only other thing you could do is 125. Is that your lowest in your um
I think so.
shutter speed?
I think so. Let me check really quick.
Because then you would just have to go F5.6 or something. Is it close enough that you can take
Oh
another
no.
photo right quick?
Yeah, I can do that.
Can you
So
set your,
actually it goes down to 1.4 and then 0.3.
is that your f-stop?
No, that's
Or
my
are you talking about your speed?
yeah,
Okay. So I'm interested in knowing, like you already have your ISO up high.
right.
Let's see if you can go from F8 down to F5.6
Okay.
or something like that. What do you got? Four,
I
what's your
have
numbers?
I have it goes from 8 to 7.1, 6.3, 5.6, and 5, and then
Go to
4.5.
5.6. Go to 5.
5.6.
Yeah, 5 or 5.6. 6.
And
Um,
then do it at the 1.4.
yeah, keep it at no, keep it at 125. Keep
Okay.
everything the same because you're trying to figure out what's the best thing to change, right?
Okay.
Because
Let
you're
me
on manual, right? If you're on
yes,
manual,
uh-huh.
you should
Yep.
be able to keep everything the same. Just change your f-stop. 125. What comes down from 125? What's the next number down? Like that would make it open longer.
It's 120.
Go 120 and then f-stop 2 down and go take that photo real quick and
Okay.
see what comes up.
Okay. I'll be right back.
All right. While she's doing that, Okay, so we need to see your photos, but we can't figure out how come your laptop is not recognizing the new thing that you just bought. So the new thing you just bought only came just as that one little thing, right?
Yep.
Did it have any attachments or anything
It just had this piece to go to the top of it. That's about it.
to cover it?
Yep.
All right, and so that's a regular USB port.
I'm
All right.
assuming it says this is what I got.
Yeah, okay. All right. Reader and writer. Okay. And so without having anything on it, plug it up to your laptop. But
Did
you
you need me
did
to stop sharing real quick so you can see
no
your
no no.
screen? Okay.
You can go ahead and do it. I'm just saying if she could if she sees anything different. We're gonna try each port. You said you have 4 ports, right?
Yeah, I have a small one and 3
No,
regular size.
4 USB ports. How many USB ports?
I mean, this is a USB, correct? This.
Yeah, it's only
So
gonna
I
be
have.
one size. You can't have a small one and a large one. It's just gonna be one size for that one. It's
Okay,
if
well, it's 2 this size, and then there's one next to the second one
okay.
that's a little different. Then it's a little teeny one.
Yeah, we only want to do that one. So you're gonna try it in both ports and see what happens when you put it in the ports. All right, go ahead, Melissa, and let's see what you got from that change.
Where's my little, I gotta exit this, I guess.
Okay.
See, it's much.
So that last one is the manual, that one you just took.
Yeah.
You see how close it is to the automatic?
Yeah.
Because you actually have more light in there. You still
Right.
have the wall kind of green with the tree green and everything, but now I could tell that I thought the floor was red.
It's on a table, actually.
Or the table. I thought the
Yeah.
table was red, right? But the table was
Right.
wooden. Couldn't see none of those details before. You did this in manual mode.
Yeah.
So you see the difference in manual mode. Only other thing is I would back out just a little bit and not put it right dab in the middle, just take it off to the left or to the right. Mainly, probably I'll take it to the right. But you see the difference in the lighting of everything.
Yes.
You still see the details of the tree. You can still see the different colors of the light bulb. You can still see the, what you call it, luminance of the star. So everything is there. You can see the red berries on the bottom, right? Now, this is crowded, so I would definitely need a little bit more foreground in that photo, unless you just have it set up that way in your computer, right? But automatically you
Yeah, I
went
thought I
from that
had one that
dark
was.
photo that you did in manual mode the first time. Yeah, that's the better photo. You see how it's off to the side
Yeah.
just a little bit? All right. And that's a better photo for me looking at it. And I think that the only other thing that you would do was you already had at the highest ISO, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We just changed it down to 5.6 or 5.
Um, there, I think so. 5.6.
So I would go 5, and it'll probably be fine, fast enough with the shutter speed, but that's where I would play around right there. Those would be the 3 numbers I would play with. I would leave
Okay.
the ISO. I would go down one more. I bump down one more with my speed to open up that. To, excuse me, to let more light in. And then of course I would on my shutter, I would let more light in longer. And then I would go down one more step, maybe even 2. I would go to 5 or whatever's right in front of 4.8 or something like that.
4.5. Yeah.
See what you get from there. But
Okay.
overall though, you can see the difference.
Yes.
1000% difference from what you did with it on manual the first time versus now that you had this. So here's the lesson. Two things. Sometimes you can take a photo with your camera on auto. It'll do everything for you. It opened up her flash. It set more light in there. It did all that. Then you can look up what that is and now go back to manual and then go from there. So that would be kind of like a starting point, like we just did.
Okay.
And now you can play up and down 1 or 2 stops. It's not going to be that many further away because the camera already said, here's the perfect shot.
Right.
You as a manual shooter, you can get it even better just by that or filter or something like that. But in this case, you got just as close to the program mode, letting it figure everything out. And
Right.
you with manual. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So good lesson there. So what did you learn during this exercise? Like as you were taking the photos, using it on shutter priority and aperture priority?
So those two, I learned that I have to be inside of, there's like a black square that comes up when I'm taking photos. And if you move whatever you're trying to take a picture of out of that black, it won't take the picture.
Oh, okay. So that's like your like
And
actual.
it's very small.
Mhm.
So like that's why those pictures are not really like I couldn't really get off to the side. That's
Oh.
why I took like a couple like up like this just to
Mhm.
kind of get a different angle because it wouldn't take the picture.
Even
It
if you
just kept
backed
going.
out. Okay.
It just was going crazy.
All right. Well, cool. Well, that's good that you were able to figure that out about your camera. I don't know what that setting thing, what that is. Um, to me, it sounds a little bit like your focus mode. If you had it on AF, autofocus,
I
which
don't
we're getting
think
ready to go over
so.
focus right now. So let's see if that was part of it, and
Okay.
we'll go from there. And at break, we'll come back to trying to figure out your camera and your computer connection. Okay, because I
Yes.
really want to see, your photos. And you seen them, right? You saw your photos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they look like. So um, we just gotta figure out how to get. I don't know why it's not showing, but it could be because you have something that you got a setting that you got to set up once you put that USB port in. You have to find a way to tell the computer that it's there.
Oh, okay.
So it may not be reading it. I mean, it's reading it, but not telling you anything because it's like, oh, do you want me to do that? We need to figure out your ports. And there's a couple steps that I have to go through to make that happen.
Okay.
All right. Well, today, this is our last day, which is crazy. But let me show you, I'm going to show you how much stuff we've covered. And then today we're talking about focus and light. These are the two other very important pieces that make up for your exposure triangle, which allows you to take and as many and better pictures as you want. The goal for most of you were to at least just use your camera, but also was to be able to take better pictures. You have the information you need. As you just saw, Melissa, you could take a better picture if you know where to start. In this
Yeah.
case, it was getting back over there to manual mode and working down those f-stops and the shutter speed because you already inside, so you didn't have to mess with your ISO because you was at the highest level for your ISO. Had you been outside, there would be all three of those things would be changed, right?
Right.
You'd be making changes with all three. All right, so let me go to share my screen here. See if we get, okay, it didn't work. Let's try it again. Here. All right, so it should be in presentation view where you can see the power focus.
Yes.
All right, so when you have your camera and you click your shutter, you should see some representation that's similar to these different setups. In manual mode, manual focus, you usually are going to see the change because you're going to just be moving the ring and on the lens, and you'll be able to set the focus there, not with the shutter. However, in autofocus, it's going to be automatically set up in different ways inside the camera. So what you're going to see is autofocus, where is the area that the camera is saying for the lens to actual focus in on. And that's the question it's answering for you. It's telling you, hey, I've focused on everything. Or it's saying, hey, I focused on this little spot in the middle. Or, and then you'll see other options. One of the things about focus is that some people feel, oh, I have a blurry shot because I didn't focus. Well, maybe, because maybe you didn't focus, but it also could have been your f-stop was too low, which meant that, and your speed was too low. So just a little bit of breathing when you took the photo, or as soon as you push down on your shutter, the whole camera moves just a little bit. It's a very micro movement, but just enough to make it look blurry. So that's why we want to focus first. So you go halfway down on your shutter. So if you want to go ahead and get your camera out and just push down there, and you should look through either through your lens or through the back display and see what is it showing you for your shutter. Make sure it's on as if you're going to take a photo, and then depress halfway on your shutter. And it should make noise. It should go clink, 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 or clink, 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 or chee, chee, chee before you push all the way down. Did you hear that, or did you see anything?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and inside yours, what do you see?
I have a
Tyler?
dot in the center, and it went ching ching like that.
Okay, so you have it right now on single point focus. You see that all AF, the one that's all the way to the right. What about yours, Melissa? What did you see when you looked in there?
So mine was that little black square turned red, and then it had like it came up and said flicker AF.
Okay, so you got yours on autofocus as well. All right, so this is what you should have seen, something similar to this. It's like a dot with some little flashy light things on, they don't, it's not long. They just kind of really quickly show you, hey, this is where we're focusing in on, right? And that's within your frame. So right now, if you was to focus over in the dark and try to do something and then focus into the light, you should see a change in either way. And what it's telling you is it's saying, hey, what should I focus on? And it's asking you the question. And then if you have it on AF, it's telling you the answer. It's saying, hey, this is what I'm gonna focus on, this little dot right here. All right. You have multiple ones. I don't know every camera, but here are some that you will see. The one that you said, it sounds like both of you are on single point AF, where it's just on one little area within the focus mode.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can change it to dynamic and some other different settings. And again, on your camera, more than likely you have to go to AF, which is going to be either a setting on the wheel, or it's going to be a button, or is on your menu. And when you go to your menu, you'll be able to scroll through. Once you depress it and then maybe turn the wheel or what, I'm not sure which way use. On mine, all I got to do is hit the button and it automatically walks through each one of the settings. It'll go through. I have 5 and it'll go through all 5. I just have to hit the button once, hit the button twice, 3 times to make it go down the list.
Okay,
right.
I just went through mine and it says SAF plus NF, and it's still the single dot in the center.
Well, S means single, so it's
Oh,
probably that. But what we want to see is if you can change it to any other group. Like in this case, you see a 9-point area, you see a 21-point area and a 51-point area. The area of main focus is still the center. And then it captures the other stuff in the frame. On the 3D tracking mode, that's when you're moving, the camera is moving. I think I mentioned this. If you're taking a action shot and the subject is running, moving, or whatever, you want to take the photo and track with that particular thing, the car, the ball, the dog, whatever it is, the kids running. You want to track with them and shoot at the same time. And what it's going to do is it's going to maintain that focus as you're moving. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can have a specific area. Let's say you've taken a bowl of fruit and you want, you want a bowl of fruit and you only want like the apple really in focus and everything else on the table kind of not, then you can change the area that you want it to focus on based on these modes. And that's where
Oh,
you see auto area AF mode, where you can make it only focus at the top left, focus at the bottom right, etc. It gives you a menu of options. So what I need you to do right now is take a minute to find your focus, your autofocus, not your manual focus, but your autofocus. And you should be able to move it through modes. I'm not sure if you have to push down the lever, push the menu, whichever one. I mean, I could look yours up because I have your book, Taya.
no, no, I have it. Mine's, I have
Okay,
to go through menu and then I see it.
you see it? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Mine just has 3 modes.
You only have 3. You probably have more than 3. You probably have to do something else to make the other modes move.
It says
But
AI focus and AI servo
yeah, servo.
or
So
one
those are 3
shot.
different ones. I'm going to show you how those work
Okay.
in that. So when you see it in AI, let me get to past these priorities that we already covered. Right. So excuse me. Autofocus automatic. And then you have the computer making a decision. Okay. When it's on autofocus or automatic, the camera changes focus in between each shot. So what's happening is, let's say that you're taking something where it's close to you, something further away, something real far away. You don't want the same focus on the close thing to be the same as the one far away. So you're gonna have to focus here and then focus on the next one. So you're pressing and waiting before you take the picture, each one of those links. So as soon as you turn your camera to the close thing, you just kind of halfway press it, let it go, and it zeroes in on what it's going to focus on, and then you hit it. Then you go to something farther away, you do the same thing. So what I want you to do from where you are, just find something that's close, midway, and then further away, and see how you can focus on that one thing. So go to something small, focus, and see how your camera reacts. Then you don't have to take the picture. You just have to let let the camera identify with the object and see how it makes the decision. So when it's close by, it does one thing. If you try to take the photo without focusing in between, you're going to get blurry shots. That's why they have another thing called AFC, which is autofocus continuous, which now in between every shot, the camera is automatically making that focus. The camera will refocus between the shot. You don't have to worry about it. You just press the shutter speed and take the photos. Okay. This is really good at a sporting event or somewhere where there's a lot of movement. Everything's going here and there. No, all different directions, or at a speedway or something like that, where you have multiple cars, a bike race, everything's kind of moving, a jogging, a marathon. You want it on continuous focus. Now, what you mentioned, Melissa, was servo, which is the same as burst or fire. Each camera manufacturer has their own way of explaining multiple shots at one time. And all it is that once you push that shutter speed down, it's automatically taking a whole bunch of photos back to back to back to back to back. And you see this a lot of times at if you ever watch photographers who shot Serena Williams, right? Serena Williams had one of the fastest and most powerful serves in the world. So they would put it on servo and catch it because they want to catch the high point when she throws the ball up. And as she's going through each progression to hit, swing, right? So that they could pick out which one of those photos they want the best. But they have it on continuous so that they don't miss something in between the shots. That's the best place to be. If you're not familiar with focusing on every shot, just put it on AI, put it on continuous focus. That's the best place to be. It allows for any time you have multiple shots and you're not sure. Now, if you're sitting there and you're taking you're taking photos of, I don't know, you're doing a product shot of your, lotion or something, you don't need that, right? You need on single because everything is static, it's not moving.
So today I tried to take pictures of moving vehicles because I was trying to get that blur. So I should have went into this
That would have
function.
probably helped you by having it on autofocus continuous. But
Okay.
what else? The other thing is, what did you have your shutter speed on? Remember, I gave you the grid so you could look at the grid and you could see, hey, if I want a little bit of blur, I need to have my shutter speed up to X, Y, and Z.
All right.
And that grid is so that you can have a starting place. So if you were outside, your ISO would be low, right? Because it's low outside when there's a lot of light. The more light, the lower the ISO. So it would have been on 100, 200, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Then your shutter speed would have been up closest to the higher numbers, probably not all the way up because you didn't want to stop motion, right?
No, I didn't.
You wanted to see some movement,
Mm-hmm.
which means you step it all the way up, take a photo with it high, and then back it down to see, okay, where do I need to stop so I'm going to get some blur?
Okay.
And then it also depends on if the cars are moving, are you just standing there taking the photo at the car, or are you moving with the car? You should be moving with the car and taking the photo at the
Okay.
same
See, I
time.
just stood there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what's happening if you stood there, you're shooting, but it's going whoop right
Yep.
through your thing. So you're not getting a whole bunch of cool stuff. But if you're going with it, you're catching it as it's going. So it's almost like the back of it is moving, but the front's not because you're moving with the front.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, these modes are very important. Now, when you have it on shutter priority, and you want to stop motion, of course, then you're going to have it on continuous. Okay. That's really important. If you're going to just sit and you're going to, like, I don't know, you're at a golf tournament or something, and it's just people standing around on the golf course, then yeah, you want a single shot, AF single. And again, it's autofocus, single shot, AFS or AIS. Okay, focus once. Once you set it, now you can take the photo in that same environment multiple times. Each between each ever shot, single shot, it's gonna focus. It's like, oh, okay, you're done with that shot. Let me refocus for this shot. Oh, you're done with that shot. Let me focus for this shot. And it continually does that. You focus as you press the shutter release button. That's what I had you doing, checking it with the shutter release. All right. You also have, some of you may have this. You can look now at your camera. On the back, you might have also what's called an AF on button. And it could have an L or it could have an
I have
E.
that.
Okay. What this does is it's a back button focus. It's so that you don't have to try to figure out whatever. You just hit it when you're about to shoot. Okay. So it's like it turns it on without you having to push the menu button and do all that other stuff. Okay. And it's already programmed. The camera makes this button activate and it's ready to go. So all you got to do is hit it and your camera's going to come awake in that space. And it's like, oh, okay, we're about to do this. And it makes, it a lot easier and it makes it simple. So
How
what
do
you'll
you know
see,
how do you know it's on? I just hit it. I don't.
well, you got to be able to take a photo.
Oh,
Remember, like before. So how you know it's on is when you get ready to put. And what do you? Let me ask you a question because I
yeah.
noticed that you do this. You look through the camera with it away from your face. Is that what you usually do, or you usually bring it to your face?
Well, because I can't see, so I got bad
Oh,
vision. Yeah, my
okay,
eyes are really yeah.
okay.
So I'm
So
just trying to do what's best. Sometimes I look through it, sometimes I hold it out because my vision is
okay.
not really good. Sorry.
Have you tried it without your glasses?
No, no.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, everything is blurry.
It's really
So
blurry.
yeah,
Okay, no problem. I have to have my glasses on when I'm shooting. If I take my glasses off, I'm not gonna see either.
yeah.
But I was just curious because I noticed you do that, like you have it out here. So that's a very that's a different
Of death.
view.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's gonna be different. So you're gonna have to compensate on all your photos for that space in between your face and what you're seeing in the lens.
Okay.
All right. So you gotta
Mm-hmm.
be aware of that when you take your photos. So as you practice, you really want to stick with one mode. If you are, then you're gonna have to also like try to figure out how far away is your normal distance for your hands because it's gonna change every time you put your hands out.
Right.
As soon as that changes, everything inside your lenses changes.
Okay.
Not to say that you can't come up with a way
Mm-hmm.
because you're doing it now. So it's working. All right. So anyway, you have this back button focus. It's on autofocus. It just basically turns it on. And this is just like, let's say that you're out, you're shooting and something happens. You see like, okay, I was out in Hampton and I was out at the lake and all of a sudden I saw these two birds just kind of jetting. I mean, they're getting it. They were just getting it. This would be a perfect spot for that where you don't have time to figure it all out. Hit the AF button, point, and go ahead and shoot, right? And what it was a hawk after a blue jay. The hawk was chasing down the blue jay, and that blue jay was trying to trying to get out of there, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, it didn't quite make it.
No.
The hawk kind of got it, but I didn't even know that they prey on their own. I thought they go after other stuff like rabbits and stuff. But it was bird on bird. But that's when you would use this button as well. Real quick, got to get to it without having to go to your menu, go in there, figure it all out. Just hit the autofocus and you're in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So press release the button causes the camera to single focus on the subject. And again, this is still duplicated when you press halfway on your shutter release button. It's the same process, it's just that this is getting there quicker. All right. So what I'd like you to do before we move into the next lesson and pretty much the final lesson of the night is to practice taking a couple of photos just, from one vantage point. Pick an item. Like right now, if I'm picking something, my daughter has a bottle sitting on the baby seat. I'm going to go and I'm going to turn and I'm going to get the bottle on the baby seat, not the car seat, not the seat. Oh, it's not the car seat. What's it called? This little tray seat. I'm going to hit that. Boom. That's going to be one thing. She also has, if I look across the room, she has like this bottle washer thing, and it's one of those bottle washer deals.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the midst of other stuff, but I want to just catch it. I don't want to focus on the rest of the stuff. So I'm going to move over and I'm going to zoom in on that, and I'm going to focus in on just that one thing. And now I'm going to hit my focus. And then maybe I might, over on the wall, she has her plug-in air freshener thing, so I can just hit that and go and just take it. So I want you from one vantage point to set everything else the right way, right? You're going to have your ISO up. You're going to have your f stop down. You're going to have your shutter speed down as well because you're inside. So you need to make sure you have enough light. So I'm thinking 125 or lower. Your ISO should be 16,000 or 6,400, whatever your high number is. And your f stop should be somewhere around 4 or 5, or like right in there, between 4 and 6. So go ahead and set those up first in manual mode, and then take 3 photos right now. Practicing using your autofocus mode. And we'll be right back.
Okay. 1600. My resume on. When I would put it in,
Yeah, and then
it
it
would
will show
say
up.
FG or whatever,
Mhm.
and I would click on it, and then
Yep,
I can go in and find my resume.
that's how it should be working, just like
Okay.
that.
But like
So
mine, see, I have this thing here. If I don't have the memory card in there, it doesn't show up. So I was saying maybe she has to try one of those different slots with that card.
she had it in there earlier. She had the little card because she tried to put the big one. She has 2 cards in her camera.
In my camera.
Right.
One is like an adapter, and then the actual card is in it. What we did at first is we took the little card out and put it in the slot on that new device that she has, and then plugged it to the computer, and it still didn't show. That's why we were trying to put the big one in. But you
Right,
can
I'm
try it
saying like
again.
so she has other little slots. She can just try like the other side or a different if they
To
fit
see if
in
it
the
fits
other
in
one.
It's
another
not fitting.
slot.
It
It usually
doesn't?
only
Okay.
fits in one. Yeah,
Yeah,
usually
it's only going in one. This is horrible. And I took my time taking these pictures. Oh my goodness.
I'm just interested in seeing, did you get the Mona Lisa? You done caught the Titanic before it went down. You could tell
No, let me
everybody.
say, I went down to Solomon's Island and I took some pictures down there. I took I made this little foamy half of a woman. I took pictures of that in here, then I took it outside and I took pictures of that. I took pictures of
See,
my
we need to
dog.
see your pictures. I'm sorry, ma'am. It's too much. Can't
Maybe
imagine.
try to restart your computer, or you know how like it had that sharing thing turned off? Maybe there's like a setting that you have turned off where it's not reading your card.
That's what I was thinking. It was a setting. So when we
Okay.
take a break, we'll take a break. Just reset your
Okay.
and see if it updates. Okay.
Okay. No
And see
problem.
what happens when we get ready to take this break. So
All right.
let's go into this. This right here is another major part of where lighting could, I mean, where your photos could be messed up, right? You already know that if you take an indoor photo versus an outdoor photo, there's a whole lot of things to consider. Type of light bulbs, type of light. That's why it's good to invest in a light ring. You can go to any store now. I mean, even
Yeah, you
like
can get it as a package at Best Buy.
you
They give
can
you
go to
the
Best
light,
Buy.
a microphone. I mean, all this crazy
Mhm.
stuff. The
I
guy was
got
trying
a
to sell it to
$100.
me when I got my my card
Yeah,
reader.
because they think you're going to be doing stuff on YouTube and all that. And I purchased a studio in a box. I'll show it to you later. But and it was $100, right? And they're lower now than they were when I bought it. And it comes with the black screen, the white screen, the green screen, which if you're doing product shots, you really do need the white screen or the black screen, depending on, you know, what kind of products you're trying to shoot. So something else that you probably saw, didn't know that was there, was you have a built-in light meter in your phone, in your camera. And it allows for the camera to evaluate how much light is available. It bases the number on lumens, like uh, how much light comes from that source. Like right now, I'm in front of this computer. I don't have a set light or anything, so I'm using just this ceiling light, but it's a recessed ceiling light. If I was in the kitchen, it would be those fluorescent lights. So it's all different kind of lights. But on your camera, you're going to have what's called settings for your metered settings for your light meter settings. The meters are measuring the reflected light, not the actual light. Okay, so it's the reflected light. It's like how much light is getting on my face and now coming back to the camera. Okay, and so those numbers could be very variant. All right, so you have four that I'm going to cover. There's more, but most cameras have these basics. I think your camera, Taya, had a whole bunch difference, because I kind of remember you had like a page and it had like maybe 6 or 8 different settings. But your new one, your new camera might not. It might have these like this. Okay. The first one, evaluative, it collects data from across the entire frame. So when you look at it, it's looking like a little circle inside of a circle, a dot inside a circle, a half circle. This is a standard image across many platforms, Canon, Nikon, etc. Okay. There may be some other camera out there that has something different, and you just got to look in the book to find that. Then you have what's called center weighted average. It looks at all the areas and then it picks a spot. Only the area where the metering takes place is much bigger. So this again is evaluating the light that's reflected, and it's saying, hey, here is the most light on this side of the face. So let me make sure I have this, that I, focus on that light. Okay. And it uses its in memory, it uses its internal um imaging support to look at that light, that piece of light. And then you have what's called spot metering, which is really cool because you can create different things with this. It's partial metering, but not spot metering. It uses only the dot in the center, which is hardly any of the frame at all. So let's say you had a bunch of items, 4 or 5 items in front, it's going to highlight just that one item in the middle, and then the light's going to kind of fade out. It's going to look similar to like a ring of faded out light. You've probably seen this in a number of really cool products photos because they use it a lot in glamour shots and luxury shots and things of this nature. And then you have partial metering, which it covers a little bit more of the frame, and you'll see it without the dot in the middle. And that's just what the image looks like to let you know which one you're on. All right. And so again, you're going to see these things in multiple ways, but you see evaluative, partial, spot, etc. inside your camera lens, or it's going to be on the back of your display. So what I like you to do right now is find it on your camera. Okay, so, and then you're going to point to different things, point to something dark, point to something light, move around the room and see if anything changes. I know for my camera, I had to tell it to change. There was no auto mode for that particular setting. I had to push a button on my menu and then go to that evaluative light and switch it out. So the question you might want to know is like, which one is better? They're all good. It just depends on what you're shooting and what you're trying to do. I'm going to show you progressively what it looks like through the lens in a second after you find it. Okay, so that should have been pretty quick as far as finding it. Everybody find theirs? You still looking?
Yes, I found it.
I just had it the other day. Now I don't see it because I've
Well,
been reading that pamphlet that you downloaded for me.
mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Yours is probably similar to how you found the other thing with the cue or the press down the exposure compensation and then move your dial to move it around to see if it's in there. But if you saw it, what you should be able to do right now is take a photo, and it should come up. It should tell you what the menu is. See if you see it in the back of the screen.
I see it, but now when I played with the other day, it let me scroll down and tap it and bring it. Now it's not letting me do that. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's what I did. Go back. Oh, good grief. I don't want the date.
Well, the main thing you need to know is there, right?
Yes.
And you have a manual that you can go through, and at the, like I said, at break, we could try to find the stuff that we need to find and go from there. Now, I mentioned this before when we were talking about the exposure triangle just for how much light is coming in on the ISO or the shutter speed or the aperture. And remember, we were working with the aperture and we were able to go up a couple half steps and down a half step. That was your exposure compensation. We've already covered it, but I just want to remind you of that little wheel that you can push down on that plus minus, and it allows you to go lighter, plus to go light, negative to go dark, just a step or two, not a full step. So if you was at 4.5 or 4.8 in your f-stop, you can go one or two down and still be in a good range for that photo. All right. So when you get ready to shoot, based on this light that we're getting ready to do, I want you to take a couple of photos where you're going to use your exposure compensation plus or minus up and plus or minus 2. So you're going to take a photo in each one of these camera metering modes. And when you do you're going to have 4 shots, that's 4. And then you're going to take another shot or 2, excuse me, two additional shots where you're going plus and minus with your exposure compensation. So you can see how it changes. But this is a representation of what it will look like, right? So center, you notice that the brightness, the lightness, everything is around. You can see that there's light on his face, light on his hands, light on his watch, light on his shirt, light on his other hand, light on his hair, all the areas, the light is reflecting, and it said, hey, I'm evaluated from here all the way out to the full frame. Then you have the evaluative light, and it collects the light, right? And you notice that right by his eye, there's a little bit less light. On his neck, there's less light. And a little bit over like where his hand is for the other hand that's shooting. And you see even on his hair, it's a little bit dark and you just see a highlight, okay? So he looks even browner in this photo. Why? Because it's evaluative light. And then you have spot, where the only spot where the light is really being reflected is in that middle space. And you can see that by it's just his face. It's the watch is about a little bit washed out. The shirt is all washed out with the words on it. His hair is all kind of looks silvery up there because it's not taking any of that into consideration. It's only right here in his where his camera is in his eyes. Just this space, right? That one spot. Okay. So you're going to be shooting something using all those light options. Now, this is just general information for when you're thinking about, I'm going to take this photo of something indoors, right? You have what's called your key light. That's the first light on your subject. That's your main light. It could be in the front in most cases. Then you're going to have your fill. Fill light fills under here. Like right now where I'm at, because the light is up there, you see a distinct line under my chin, and all of this is dark under here, right? If I was taking this as a photo, that's not a good photo. All of this is dark. You can't tell where this is and all of that, right? So what I would have to do is fill this area. And I could fill this area using a reflector, and I can reflect light. Like I got a little white paper here. It might work a little bit, but do you see the difference? Just just like that. You see the difference? All it is a little white pad. But because I put it right here, I'm reflecting light up underneath my chin, because I take it away, it's all dark right there. If I put it in there, right, you can see it change. Okay. And they do this all the time. They'll have somebody like right out here with a reflector, and it's not in the frame, and they'll be reflecting stuff in different places. And sometimes they're silver or they're black. They would take away light. You know, you could use just about anything that will reflect the light, except for a mirror. You don't really want to use a mirror because it'd be overpowering. And then you have what's called a backlight, where you can actually shoot just with a backlight. And you see this all the time, where it'll be a silhouette, or just like you can kind of see the person, not really see the person. All right. But remember, you got 3 lights. You got your key light, and this works in film and it works in photography. Okay. It's called the standard 3-point lightings. Is there other ways that you can light? Sure, you can light all kind of stuff, but this is just the standard so that you know what it looks like. So here's what it will look like through the lens. They also was called rim light is kind of like the backlight. Okay, same idea. Then you have your key light, you know, it's right here in front of the subject. That's kind of like what was happening with me. You see it's dark under there. I would, if I was going to use this photo for anything, I would say I need a reflector, right? All the settings were the same. The F was the F9, F stop. The ISO was what's that? 250, and it's 1/200th of a second as far as the speed. All the settings were the same. The only thing that was changed was the lighting. Look at the drama or dramatic changes just with lighting. All the settings are the same. ISO same, f-stop same. So the aperture didn't change. They didn't let more light in or anything. The shutter speed's the same. But look at the dramatic difference in the light in this on the subject. So be aware of that when you're out shooting. Okay. Power of light. Same thing in harshness. Harsh light could create the same problem because it's over. And you see this where it's all washed out or it's too much, right? So you're gonna have to do something to tone it down. Okay. This is at a f2.8. Low depth of field, right on the model, no problem, right? But in harsh sunlight, you might wash out everything and you might have to compensate it with something to reflect in more or less light. Or you, in some cases, have to use a fill flash to flash in light on the places that's because the shadows are too heavy. Okay. When the shadows are too heavy, you got to throw some more light in there. So you can use your fill flash. And if you have an auto flash or you have a flash unit, sometimes that flash is up in the air or over to the side. It's not directly on the model or whatever the subject matter is. It could be multiple things. You have to play with it. And then, of course, you have backlight or back sunlight, which gives a real dramatic look in a lot of cases. In this case, you can see, you know, the model is looking down. It adds to the drama of the photo. She's looking into the darkness, so to speak. She's looking into away from the light. Okay. Real cool stuff. And then this last piece about lighting is something that you also saw, probably didn't know what it was, but let's look at it now again. It's called your histogram. Take a look at the back, and you're going to see something that shows up like a little mountain. Some of you might have it where it's just black and white, monochrome. Others may have it where it's multiple colors. Take a look at the back of your display and just move it around in your room. And what you're going to see is you're going to see that histogram change. If it's on, you might have to turn yours on. Mine is automatic on my Canon. But you're going to see it's going to look like a little mountain of light, little hills. And once you find it, just move around the camera around the room as if you're going to take a photo, and you will see that it generates a reading. And it's called a histogram. You might have to look in your menu of settings to turn it on or off if it's not automatic. So have you found it yet? Okay, so you found it. Melissa, you found yours too?
No.
All right. So you might have to use your menu. Because you have a Canon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Canon and mine comes up automatic. But you can look through your menu of items and it's called a histogram. And it should be on like review, like when you're ready to review your photo or test. It could be under light metering or say meter on, meter off, something like that. You have your display on, Melissa?
Sorry.
Do you have your display on
Yeah, like,
where you can see all your stuff? Okay.
yeah, I'm trying
So
to.
you just got to find the menu for your light meter or your menu for lighting.
So my metering, I found that, but
Do you have so you went through them all and do you see one that says histogram to turn it on and off?
no,
You
it just
should.
has the basic ones that you said, the partial, spot, center weighted.
Okay, look for a different title or see if you just can look through your whole menu items and just kind of scroll through your menu to see if you have a histogram where you could turn it on and off. And what it does is it gives a general idea of do you have too much light or not enough light? And depending on that graph, it'll let you know too much light, not enough light. I'm gonna give you a couple of examples with a couple of photos. And this allows you to test before you ever take the shot. You know, if your histogram is on, it's going to tell you, hey, we don't have enough light. You might want to do something to add some more light, right? And so when you see it, it'll be all the way to the left, like all the light will be across in one spot on the left. And that tells you, hey, I may not have enough light. This photo that you're going to take, it informs you that probably going to be underexposed. If you didn't find it right away, Melissa, we'll look it up and try to find it through your manual.
Okay.
Okay, because
Hmm.
I don't want you to miss the information. Once you find it, you'll see how it works, right? So you'll see this little, it looks like this little rectangular box, and it'll be black in there usually. And then you'll see this little white lines, and they look like, you know, it's like a graph. Now, bless you. It could be in color and it's going to be in RGB, red, blue, green, I think yellow, right? And then you also will see it in black and white. Mine is in black and white. I have to turn it on to color. I have to change the setting, right? And so if it's all the way to one side, it's overexposed. If it's all the way to the left, then it's underexposed. So those are the two extremes, right? And you can see that it's not like a middle ground. There's no, it's either all the way to the left, all the way to the right. That tells you something, right? On a single image. And if it's all the way, excuse me, if it's if it looks like the top one or the middle one, that middle bottom one, excuse me, the bottom one is more like what you want, where it's kind of all in the middle and it's multiple, you know, graphical images, a graphical representation. So you see kind of like a mountain. It's kind of, yeah, it's right in the middle. If it's all the way over to either side, it's either overexposed or underexposed. That's all you need to really know about it. but it does give you information so that you can know. Let's say you're at the beach and you're about to take this beautiful photo, and it's like, hey, we're underexposed right now. So you can say, oh, well, what do I need to do? Let me bump down my ISO. Let me bump up my f-stop. It gives you enough information to help you make a decision on what to do with your camera. All right, what questions do you have about anything that was covered so far in reference to focus or lighting? Okay. All right. So again, those are things these are things that can assist you with understanding how the light is going to affect your photo. And this is indoor or outdoor. Some people will spend money on a light meter, external light meter, and you put it next to your subject to kind of figure out, hey, what kind of lighting do I have? There are 2-3 trains of thoughts about that, but most people, if they're not shooting like, glamour shots and things of this nature, but like a wedding would be very important to have that, because you don't want her white dress to look yellow or blue because of the sky or gray because of the weather, right? You want the whites to be whites and vice versa, all the other colors to come out the right way. All right.
I do have a question though.
Mhm.
If a person is very fair skinned and
Mhm.
then okay, they're real fair skinned and they're wearing all white,
Mhm.
and then the exposure, isn't that going to go to the one side to say you need more color, more
It
light?
probably is going to say that it's overexposed.
Overexposed, yeah.
And then all you're going to do is you're going to break down, certain things. So if you have overexposure, then the best thing for that is, number one, the first thing is you're going to check your ISO. Because if your ISO is all the way up or all the way down, you're going to check that. If you're outside, then you want it down low, 100,
Okay.
200, right? So that could be the first thing you think is like, oh man, it's overexposed. Let me throw the ISO down. If you already have your ISO down and it's at 100, 200, now you know what else affects that brightness, right?
The
The
shutter
number
speed.
one thing that's gonna do is not the shutter speed, it's gonna be the aperture, right?
Oh,
Aperture is the open
I'm sorry. Yeah.
control.
Okay.
Remember, shutter is just how long it's open, but how how open it is the difference,
Yeah.
right? To lets in more light or less light. So you're gonna look at that f-stop, and now you're gonna work with those two, shutter and the f-stop, till you find your good balance, right?
Okay.
Because yes, shutter speed will also be a factor.
Okay.
So, and then of
What's the
course,
thing?
that person may just need to move into a different space. Like, is there shade somewhere? If they're taking the photo at the beach, what time is it? All right, just for your information, high time is overexposure. So you don't want to really be taking that photo between 11 and
And
1
2 o'clock.
o'clock.
Okay.
Somewhere after 1:30, 2 o'clock, you can take it with no problem because the sun is on the way down over the horizon. And before then, before it gets to that high point at 11, 12, you want to take the photo. So that alone could make a difference in your exposure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So coming to the magic time, because you learned or you've been informed about how to manually manipulate your camera to get whatever it is that you want. But your camera does have presets. These are already set up. You don't have to do anything but set it and forget it. You don't have to really do a lot of extra stuff. And so you have these auto scene mode, right? Now, some have multiple ones. Others have some that's on the general dial. But if you go into your menu, you can get extra stuff. So I just kind of, you might see some of these type of things, right? I'm gonna go from the top right to the top left. So you have your movie, which is, your video. Then you have your underwater shot. So there's a way different settings for shooting underwater than on top of the water, right? You have your record, and then you have your night, and then you have your program mode and your auto photo. So you can have it in those programs. Um, Another one that I'm familiar with, that you're familiar with, you see coming down to the left, excuse me, to the right, going across, is a little guy in the red with this little stuff going around. It's just that it's like in it's almost portrait mode, but it's stuff happening, it's moving. So it's kind of like in that space. Wide angle, you have to have a special lens for that, or it'll actually set it up like it is a wide angle lens. Then you have portrait, which is the lady with her face to the left. And then you have macro, which again, if you're shooting plants and you want to catch bees, working in there, which is awesome to see, them lighting onto whatever, and their wings is back, and they're translucent, and their little feet is just ready to like step onto the plant. And it's beautiful if you can catch it, like with the dragonflies, dancing in the moonlight. I mean, in the sunlight. That's really cool. Then you have your landscape, and then some scientific stuff, which is really like a even closer macro, right? And then they have some other ones: pets, sports, lights, candlelight, food. Um, you know, you have to practice and just, you know, go through each mode, take a photo, and see what your camera does. Again, this is all automatic. Your camera is going to determine the ISO, is going to determine everything. All you're doing is setting it, forget it, take the shot. Okay. You need these when you do certain things. Like this shot was the sky, right? So it was beautiful clouds. This was taken down at the wharf in DC, Washington, DC wharf. Be careful for over sun exposure, because that could really mess up your photo, but you also can get some cool light rays. So you might like that. One of my students that were in the class, we were playing around, and they went out and they took at CSM, they took photos of water coming from the water faucet. And the difference is just the settings. On one setting, you can see all the water droplets. It looks like ice. It's, really smooth. Another one, you can hardly see any of the water splatter or anything. So, just be aware. This was at night. You could see, if you really look at some of the people walking by, you can tell that they were moving, but it's a late night, nice night, summer night, people out and about, or spring night. Okay. Took this photo. I don't remember even what I was doing. I think they had a music festival, because they had the little booths and stuff, the little tents, and that was really cool. Um, this actually was showing hyper focus. I took this also. Two things I want to recognize here is in hyper focus, you see all the way to the trees, and then you see right up to the bushes that's right here, right? And I like to always try to incorporate like a little limb or a wall or a piece of fabric or something that's close to the lens, to give a dynamic of, I'm looking into tomorrow. I'm looking into where I'm going, right? I really like leading lines. And so it's kind of like one of my things. And I like to shoot around the harbor or the wharf or the water. So it's kind of like my like joy. And you can see the ripples in the water. So this focus was all the way from the back to those trees and to the front of this bush, and then took the photo. Okay. And you can see how the light danced upon all the different things. All right. So again, use the broadest light source and the most natural light source. Um, because of it, it'll put light over the whole subject and not just on the one thing. And if you did want that, then make sure you get you a good key light to make that happen. Put your source and your subject as close to the light as possible. This is very important for the light to kind of shine over the whole environment and not just one-sided. Front lighting or key light as much as you can so that you get light coming all over across the whole subject and not just one side. And now you have these big shadows, etc. Now, if you're trying to get shadows, then cool, that's not a problem, right? But you want to balance it so that it doesn't look like, you know, one side is in the light and one side is out, unless that's what you're going for, okay? It's really up to you. All right, so we're going to take a break. So here's what we've covered from day one to now. Exposure and exposure triangle. F-stops and aperture, how aperture works, what happens when the light comes into the lens, and etc. Shutter speed, how to manipulate a photo using just the shutter speed, make water look like mist, and also look like ice, right? Stop it in its tracks. ISO, it's an international standard that we looked at and how it can create more grain or noise around the subject. We looked at that. The exposure triangle, I mentioned that. Light metering, we covered just today. Depth of field, f-stop again. Low f-stop, low depth of field, and we use low depth of field when we want to really pull that subject out of everything else and have everything else blurred out, and the subject matter is the main thing. We talked about focal length. That's the distance between the edge of the camera and the actual subject. And I showed you a diagram of that. Okay. Sensor size, I mentioned that to you to let you remind you that your sensor is where all the light goes to create the photo. And we talked about pixels and how everything is done in pixels. And the more pixels you have, the sharper your image is, right? Which again, we talked about sharpness. We looked at a number of camera settings, your different modes. We looked at shutter priority. We looked at aperture priority. We looked at making changes in manual mode. And we looked at also in what's called auto or program mode, right? So we use all those different modes, and you were asked to take photos in those modes so that you could see how they affect your photo. We spent time today also talking about focusing and focus modes and how you can have one area focus over the whole frame, and how important that is. Hyperfocal distance, again, I didn't really go into that before. I just showed it to you earlier when I showed the football player. But hyperfocus, I just showed you with the wharf photo, how you go all the way out and you make sure everything over there is focused, and then you back in and you make sure that everything in your foreground is focused, and then you take the photo, and you have everything in focus. We did not cover white balance. Some of you will have a WB button. You can go ahead and take a look at your camera. I see you shaking your head, Melissa, so you probably already found it. The main thing about white balance is just what it says. If you're in an environment, this again goes back to the fair skinned person wearing the white dress in a whole bunch of sun. You might want to check the white balance and then kick that back. The issue with that, though, is to be careful that you don't change the tone of the photo and now things are pink or blue or any of the RGB colors. Okay. So you want to be careful for that. And then today we talked about histogram, and you already talked about composition, rule of thirds, and perspective. So when you think about what you've done in just a couple of days, this is all the stuff that you covered. So what questions do you have in reference to any of this stuff that you've covered before we take a break?
I have been trying to do the water project that you gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I turn the water on, and I have bad lighting in my kitchen, so I went in my bathroom, and I have good lighting in there, but I don't know what I'm doing because I can hear the camera making that noise, but it's not. It won't take the picture. I don't know what
Okay.
I'm.
So there's a couple of things that could be happening. If you depends on what mode you have. Did you have it on manual mode? Because
Mm,
manual mode allows you to control everything. So the camera can't do anything unless you tell it to. But if you had it on any other mode, it could be challenged with how much light is in the room or not in the room.
I
So
did
it's
have it
like
on
trying
manual
to,
mode. Yeah.
okay. So in your bathroom, you probably want to have it on again, a high ISO, because you were trying to show the differences in stopping water and moving water. You probably want to have your shutter speed up as high as possible. Where you was probably having a challenge though was when your f-stop, and you got to put that somewhere in around 5 or 6,
Well, I had it
so
on
that,
8. I had it
okay,
on F8, and then I
8
had
was
my
not
ISO
probably
as
enough.
I had it on 6400 on my ISO.
Mm-hmm. Which is good. So I would go back to that same environment, but bring that f-stop down even more, because you had it at 8. It probably
Yeah.
wasn't getting enough light, and it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't take this picture. There's not enough light. So you
Okay.
got to tell it, and so bring it back down, 5.4, 5.5, 4.8, 4.6, whatever those numbers you have that's in that realm, and
Okay.
then try it and see, then take it and see. The other thing is there any contrast between the water and the back of the water? Like if it's a white tub and it's water, it's crystal, it's hard for the camera to see, like, what am I taking?
That's what it is because my sink is like a beige.
Yeah,
So
so it's gonna be
okay.
conflicting because it's like, hey, what do I'm taking? It doesn't know what
Okay.
we're taking a photo of.
All right.
So, you got to be able to tone down some of the light so the color contrast can be there so the camera knows, oh, I'm doing this.
Okay.
So those are all things that would kind of work towards getting that done.
Okay. I'll try that again.
Hmm. Remember I said use a plate.
Yeah.
Again, the plate can't be the same color as the sink.
Hmm.
There needs to be some contrast so you can see the differences of it. Or just take a towel or something, or a wash rag that's a color, one solid color,
Hmm.
pop it in there to kind of tone down all the rest of the light that's coming into the bowl.
Okay.
That might also affect. And then make sure you're pointing the camera at the water and not at the spigot.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Try that one.
What other questions do you have?
I know you said all cameras are different, but for me,
Generally, mhm.
yeah, well, what I've been playing with mine, trying to figure out the modes on it. Um, I noticed that when I put it, because I have to write notes what I'm doing.
No
Um,
problem.
when I'm in manual mode, a lot of times the pictures keep coming out black. Um, and even though, let me see what I got here. My f-stops are up, they're high. I'm still like I wrote what picture I
Uh,
took and I said what I wrote all the numbers down, but it came out dark. So I'm not understanding.
So that's the point, right? If your f-stop is high, guess what?
It's going to be dark.
Why? Melissa, why is dark?
Because it's not letting enough light in.
Right. It's a small, high number, small hole, right? So think about, I need light in, high number, I'm not open enough. I need to open up. Low number, Remember the pizza?
Yeah.
I only got a little slice. If I got the whole pizza, guess what? I could bring in a lot more light. But if I got a little tiny 1/16 of a slice, I'm not getting very much. High number,
Yeah, I know I wrote that down
the
somewhere.
aperture is smaller. Low number, aperture is wider. So you're
Like
letting in
that.
more light. And then if you already know that your shutter speed is taken care of, because again, what's your shutter speed?
Well, on some of them I had 1/30th, 1/60, 1/25.
That's
Well,
good. Because 125, 161, those are lower numbers compared to 2000s, 120,
yeah, the bigger ones, yeah.
the bigger
Okay.
numbers.
So I'm still trying to read the book to figure out because this is all new for me.
Well, when you read, then take a picture.
Yeah, that's what
Read,
I've been
take a
doing.
picture.
That's what
That
I've been
way
doing.
you're doing both at the same,
Yep. That's what
not
I'm
at the
trying to
same
do.
time, but right behind each other so you can see what that change does.
Okay.
That was one reason why I had you go up and down the scale of your f-stop so you could see when you change that f-stop what happens without changing anything else, just the f-stop, keeping everything else mid-range, except for if you was inside, then your ISO was high,
Correct.
right?
Okay. All right. That's
What
what I
else?
have.
Melissa, you don't have any questions?
Not really. I mean, I feel like it's just I have to, you know, take the picture to see what,
Okay.
like, I
So I'm
mean,
gonna give
I
a
really want to
scenario.
get a good picture of the moon.
Me
Okay.
too. Oh my gosh, you should see the moon. I took them like 3 pictures of the moon, and it looked like somebody put a yellow dot, and then it squiggle down. I said, well, what happened? I don't. It was a
All right.
beautiful.
First of all, to shoot the moon, you might need a bigger lens because the moon is very far away.
I know.
It looks close to us, but
Yeah, it
it's
does.
really far away, right? So you might need a better lens. The other thing is to shoot the moon, more than likely, you're gonna have to have your shutter speed low. You're gonna have to have that bad boy open long, which means what?
Just open long. 1 minute.
If the shutter is open long and the
More of
f-stop is open, aperture is open long, I mean
to get the
open
most light,
to
right?
get the most light, right? As all that stuff is lined up, what's the other issue that you have? Remember breathing or pushing down on the button. You're gonna
Right.
get what? You're gonna get a blurry shot.
I was getting
Mhm.
ready
You
to
need to
okay.
have it on a tripod because what's happening to shoot the moon, you have to open that lens up, and it has to be open long enough to let that light go from the moon all the way to your lens
Right.
and to your sensor because it works the same way as everything else.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
where you
have a
position your
pretty.
camera is going to be a big deal. And that's why people drive all the way to Texas to take the pictures of the moon. Because it's at a certain level of the horizon and stuff. What you got? Oh, that's your cool bag?
Yeah, it came with
Yeah,
all this stuff. My camera. It's like,
that's hot. Look at that, man. You got fancy dancy.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is the biggest lens I have. It goes up to 300.
Okay. Well, I would try with it and give it a shot. Um, I I actually have taken the moon with my cell phone. And
Really?
Yeah.
I put it on program mode. Not program mode. I put it on pro. Now I have again a Samsung, right?
Yeah, my
So
Apple
let me
takes
go to
jump.
my settings. So I go to pro settings and I check my white balance and I put my speed down to 1/110 And my ISO, it depends, but right now it's at 64. But I've had my ISO up to like 1600, 3200. So between 16 and 3200 is where my ISO has been. My speed has been down to like 20, which is really long. And my white balance is cool. And then yeah, and I've been able to take a photo of the moon and it came out pretty cool. As a matter of fact,
Samsungs can take really
I
good photos of
just
the
took
moon.
one not too long ago of the moon. I was playing around at the water because it was a full moon.
Yes.
I don't know how long ago it
Thanksgiving.
was. Yeah, it might
This
have
is
been
the best
Thanksgiving.
picture I have.
Good.
All right,
Can't
go.
see it.
You have to tilt it so that the light don't bounce right into the lens.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is it
All right.
clouds? It looks
I
like
see
clouds.
clouds.
Yeah, the little gold dot is the
Is the moon the little gold
that's
dot?
probably that's
So
the
that
best
was a few
picture.
weeks back then. That was a few
See
weeks back.
that?
Oh, that's beautiful. I can see that one. Look at that.
I'm so
Oh,
jealous.
All right, and then look
I
at that
won't
one.
change my phone though.
oh no.
My camera better be able to do this. So.
That's beautiful.
Yep, I just took those. This one's a full moon right here.
Yeah.
You can see the man in the moon. You see the face? Yeah, it's so cool, man.
And you did that with your camera.
Yeah.
I think good pictures of the sun.
Oh, I see it. I can see a reflection at the bottom. Okay, yeah, now I see
Oh
it.
yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
direct. Yep. So whenever you're taking those photos, there are some specifics you need to pay attention to. So let's go ahead and take a quick break,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna, because I want to go into the. We don't have to take a break if you don't want to. Y'all want to just keep moving? Or you need a bio break real quick?
I need a restroom break.
Okay, take a bio break right quick. But let's come back in like 5 minutes, and then we'll
Okay.
go into this.
Okay. Mute my.
Record. All right, so I have some bonus material for you that I thought this would really be helping Jasmine because she's doing this already. And so hopefully, Jasmine, you watch this and this, you guys are going to get the benefit of this too. But I actually do include this in the full longer version of this course, right? And so if you are going to be doing a lot of editing and you want to change and manipulate colors, change eye colors, put new eyelashes on eyes, do other stuff to tattoos and any of those different things, you want to shoot in what's called raw. Raw is, in the sense of it, just saying all the pixels are there and they're not converted at all. It's just raw, right? Versus JPEG, it condenses everything into a particular file. Okay. So most photographers, they shoot in a raw. And they tell you that if you shoot in other things, you're not a photographer, which I don't listen to none of that junk. If you can take a photo that people admire, you're a photographer, even if the only person that admires it is you, right? Allows you to work without any compression of the file. There's no advance in the quality. It's not like, oh, you're gonna have better quality because you shoot this and this and this. It just makes it easier for you to do manipulation of the pixels in Photoshop or Lightroom or any other. Now, all kind of stuff. You have AI now where you could take a regular JPEG and actually change it like it was raw. So technology has advanced so far that you don't really have to have all that. You can just use app and get it done. So, all of that stuff they're saying is just going out the window because of technology. There's a place called Pixlr where you can manipulate without having to learn a whole lot about editing. They have some very simple steps and you just take them. I create stuff and tell you to create stuff in Canva, Canva.com, Canva. It is a it is a graphic design space for beginners. Everyday people are creating amazing, cool stuff with Canva. And what I want to say to you is that when you take your photos, you can secure them. I'm getting ready to go to Shelly's site to show you that. Okay. Photoshop, Lightbox, and green screen. When we first started this class, it included Photoshop pieces. It was so complicated for so many people. I just took it out. I said, you know what? Either they got to give you 2 more weeks just to learn it, or forget it. You can go and do almost everything you want to do in Photoshop. You can do with Canva. And now AI, Adobe has an AI that can do all that stuff in like 2 seconds. You don't even have to manipulate it. It's crazy. So I created this. I'd be telling you to do the same thing. Digital photography, Dwayne Ross courses. You see the little photography guy there, and the lens. All that was done using Canva. And then I take that and turn it into what's called a vector graphic. And now I can put that graphic on any photo that I take. Okay. And now it's like a copyright. Okay. Because remember that anything you take, once you put it on the internet, if you don't have your copyright statement on it or something on it, it's free game to anybody and everybody. They can use it for whatever they want. Okay. So you want to be careful for that. Green screens and intro to editing. We do that. That's my car parked there. It was a beautiful canopy. I love canopies. This is also on the way to the wharf in Washington, D.C. At the time, I was going there a lot to take photos of different stuff in the wharf, and it snowed that week, and it was just phenomenally beautiful. And I wanted to show in class how you can just remove stuff. So I removed the car. Today, I don't even have to do half of that. In Canva, they have remove element. You just take a little pen, you wipe over the element, and it automatically removes it. You can change the background and remove the whole background and put yourself on the beach in Hawaii. You can do all that in 2 seconds now. So all that editing work that people do, if you want to do that.
Catfish.
Oh, heck yeah. Catfish.
Killing it out there.
Listen.
You meet them and you're like, whoa.
You're like, excuse me.
Who are you?
I got catfished by a 70-year-old lady.
Oh my God.
She posted up her 46-year-old, 48-year-old picture. And then she came to meet me, and I was like, is that your mom? What's going on? Did I just put that on video? I just did. All right, so I'm with you on that, Melissa. You be like, you look taller in the picture.
Right. It is terrible.
I said 6'3", not 3.5. What the world is going on? So this is manual of the moon, right? And what you can see here is timing is important because of how the sun rises and the moon compensate. You know how they do this thing. There's a point in time where you can actually have the moon and the sun in the space at the same time, even though across the horizon they're separate, right? And so you can get that reflection of the sun up on the moon. It's really phenomenal if you try to do that. But this is in manual mode, okay? And there's just multiple shots of the same shot. All right. So we already went through that. So this here, build your photo library, get you a nice SD card, get you a nice terabyte of memory. It's only like $60, maybe less now. At Best Buy, you can do something like that. I'm not endorsing Best Buy. You can buy it wherever you want.
What
But
brand do you have for your photo
for
storage?
mine, it was let me see. I I don't have it connected right now. I'll send you it in the email. I'll put the
Okay.
brand on the email because I don't know it offhand.
Okay.
But it's very it's been very good. I got I mean I have a lot of photos and right now I still have a whole bunch of room. All right. You can use a USB little, those little things, but I found that I was running out of space on them too much with the photography. So I just bought the whole external hard drive and it worked perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do this, use naming conventions, timing conventions, or something like that. Like I have a son who's at NFL level football right now. He's just about we got a bowl game coming up. And when I take photos of him, I have photos from when he was 6 years old all the way to now, 23 years old. And I know where they are because of how I named them, right? So do naming conventions. You might pick a date or a time or Mickey Mouse or some kind of something so you can find them and keep track of them, right? And then you copy them and arrange them in some kind of order. If you're emailing, you're probably going to need a photo sharing app or something like that. So consider, you know, paying for one of those services. They only give you a limited amount. Now, Google also tells you, oh, you have free use of photos you can share, da 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 da. But there's limited in how many you can go, and then they start asking you to pay. So I don't like that. It's kind of like bait and switch kind of thing. So, all right. So, Melissa, what I was talking about earlier with your orange, you have that orange lens. It's probably for this, which is called the golden hour. I was with my grandson out in Newport News, Virginia. We was coming across to go to the restaurant, and there's a restaurant right at the water river, and we're at the James River Bridge, and this was the park right by James River Bridge, and I just thought it was beautiful. The sun was going down, and it had this silhouette thing going on with the trees, so I just like, hold up, Gabriel, and I took this photo, and it's at the golden hour. Okay, golden
Mm-hmm.
hour is an hour and a half to 2 hours right before the sun rises into the sky or before it sets, right? And, in the eastern sky. And it's a really cool thing that happens with the atmosphere where it gets this warm glow across the whole, space. And if you can catch it right, you can create some phenomenal photos about that. Same thing with the blue hour. The blue hour is right after that, right? It's a period of twilight. It's really like jet black dark. And then there's this blue hue that happens and then it becomes the golden hour. So it's right before that when the sun is at a significant distance below the horizon. And there's because of that, there's some kind of gas thing happening in the atmosphere and blah, 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 blah. And it turns into this beautiful thing. If you have water near it, it's even better because you see the reflection of the sky in the water. And it just makes for this wonderful photo. This is not my photo. This was somebody took in Amsterdam or something, but I just thought it was a beautiful representation of blue hour. This one is also blue hour where the sky is doing its thing, but because of the other, colors there, it just kind of sets off. And again, you can play around with these hours before the time and after. So early in the afternoon or late in the afternoon. Okay, I've already mentioned this about focal distance, where it's the hyperfocus on something way in the back and then focus on something in the front, and now you have it. There are some other composition things where you could use, this one here is like the spiral, or what it does is it kind of takes your eye along the way. And you see this a lot with Disney. Disney will have something off in the future or back off in the in the background, and then they'll bring you into it on a 3 level. And so really cool thing. If you notice the Eiffel Tower photo, they just broke everything up in these little triangles. And it's really kind of cool where you can see how one way is going down, another way is going across. Again, I talked about these vanishing lines. I like to find vanishing lines and find a point. So if it's here, then I've come up away from it or something like that. Just a minute, my son is calling. Hey, Joseph. Joe? Joseph. Okay, I'm good. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm in the middle of class. A CSM. Are you gonna be home? All right, I'm gonna call you back in about 15 minutes. Yeah, he told me about the date. It's the 21st. Are you planning on going? Okay, we'll talk in a bit. Okay, I'll call you back. All right, love you. See you. Sorry. Um, so vanishing lines, vanishing points. I look for those little triangles and little things like that, especially steps and stairs. I went out to Chickateek, where the little horses are, because I wanted to shoot there's a beautiful red lighthouse there, and it's just amazing. So I went there to do that. As you can see, this monochrome is another way you shoot in black and white. I have some really cool stuff that I've done in black and white. Um, it's a setting on your camera that you can take. I don't use filters. I'm not a fan of filters right now. I haven't really been using them. Um, Butterfly's not mine. The chain is. I look for stuff like this around the harbor: chains, knots, nautical nautical, portals, all kind of little things like that to take a photo of. In this case, it was, cool. That was a color photo. I just did it again and did it in black and white to see how it would look, and I thought it looked pretty cool. Two of my favorite artists in the photography space is Ansel Adams and Gordon Parks. If you ever study either one of them, you'll know they both did their major work when they were over 50. And Ansel Adams was asked to shoot all the national parks by Roosevelt. And so he went out and he did a phenomenal job with that. So we still use his settings to kind of create. I love how he had these rocks from the mountain close by, and then you see the big mountains in the back. Real cool with the sun rays coming through. And he did this all in natural black and white, right? As Gordon Parks, this was a family that was he lost his job. He was trying to get welfare for her and her children. He did a whole expose on these communities that were depressed based on economics when different major corporations moved the company out or closed down the plant or whatever it did and caused depression in the 70s, right? And so you saw also this really interesting photo where this little black kids were asked to choose dolls, and they chose white dolls as they had choices of black dolls, white dolls, Spanish dolls, but they said which one will you be happy with, and they picked the white doll. None of them picked any of the other colored dolls. So it was a thing that he was doing to show, what was happening in the community, and so black and white. All right. Okay, so the studio I talked about is this really cool $100 studio that you can get. Studio in a box, came with the light boxes. It came with the lights, and it came with the stand. So everything you see there was there. And it's really cool. It's lightweight, easy to take, easy to travel different places. So I kind of just grab it up and take it whenever I need it. But a lot of places now Peer Space. I think I mentioned that in our intro. You can just find a place like Peer Space and they have everything already there. So these people here, they started taking photos of their dog, right? Shibushu. Anyway, what they did was they built this up in a menswear, they was playing around. Somebody saw it on social media and decided to ask them could they put their actual clothes on the dog, and they did a photo shoot, and it was a phenomenon. Now this dog brings in over $15,000 a month by wearing clothes for a fashion designer, and all he gets is kibbles and bits. His owners get the rest. Okay, bacon. Let's right. So I like architecture. That's a veteran arc down in Newport News. It took that. My oldest son lives in Las Vegas. I got off the plane right as I was coming in at golden hour. I saw that palm tree by itself, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then this is in Virginia. Went up to Great Falls, Virginia. It's a big, great waterfall that you don't even know is there unless somebody tells you it's there. I mean, it's amazing that it's been there forever, and it's an actual big waterfall, and it runs straight down to Virginia, which is crazy to me, but it's beautiful. If you want to pick a genre, you should pick something, but before you pick one, just do everything to see where your niche lays. Because Shelly thought she was going to take one type of photo, and now she's taking landscape and some other stuff. Figures, little things that people, use. I told you about Mr. Tiger. I'm going to show you him. Portraits, people, very low depth of field, quality shot. Groups, events, birthdays, baby showers, um, midlife crisis, all those different things are happening. 90-year-old birthdays, 100-year-old birthdays. You can focus in on whatever niche that you want with photography, right? Weddings, very special, very specific, and you definitely want to do your homework before you get into this because people pay so much money for it, okay? So you don't want to screw it up and give them a non-memory. And that's a whole nother story. Mr. Tiger, he was at I met Mr. Alan Tiger down in Alexandria. He takes bodyscapes and then he uses figurines. And so you can obviously see this is someone's backside and somebody's muscle. And you have them climbing up and you have the horses drinking water, right? Nude and sensual is a big thing. This is dancers and bodyscapes again, where people, they take these photos for their family. There's this thing right now called boudoir shots, where people are really like dressing up, boudoir or not dressing up, and they're pretty much taking their shots with their significant others. And then I met this gentleman right here, Nunez. I want to show you his video, so I'm going to put that in the homework. I mean, in the follow-up email, so you can actually watch it. He actually uses light, and it's a phenomenal thing. He uses an old camera, which has a very long shutter speed, and he opens it up to that long shutter speed, which is like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. And he's able to walk through dressed in black with light in a light saber or a strobe, etc. And he lights up these different places. And it's just phenomenal what he does. He goes to these old broken down environments and he creates these masterpieces of his work, which is phenomenal. All right. But you can do these things with the photography. If you want to get your stuff home on the wall, two places or one particular place that I use iPhoto at home and Canvas Champ. I'll put these in the information so you'll have them, but I just wanted to share that with you. All right. We're not doing editing. And again, we're not doing that. Understand that light and shadows can create phenomenal stuff. The middle photo, you know, is just water on a plant, but of course, blacked out the background, and just the light is on the one subject in this spot lit. And then this is from the grass up underneath the dandelions, which make them look like trees, which is pretty cool. Okay. All right. And that's my son, Jonathan, doing his thing. All right. So again, I already talked about these things. The best way for you to get better is to continually take as many photos as you can. And I think that is it. Yep. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. What questions do you have? Right. There was one other thing I wanted to share with you. And so I'm going to
a question.
Bring that up real quick. Go ahead and ask your question while I bring that up.
Under when you were talking about the lines and the with the artwork. So I've been seeing these railroad tracks. So
Yeah.
that would fall under composition. And if I were to take a picture, would it be better to, well, I know it would be better if you put a subject on there that they will be facing? Because I remember you saying the direction you want people to have.
It's not a fast rule, but what if you have a person on the tracks and the tracks are behind them, it depends on what you're trying to say with the photo.
Okay.
They could be looking in the
Go ahead.
distance, or they could be looking behind themselves.
Okay.
You know.
But would that fall under a composition for?
Okay, remember, composition just means you are creating a shot where your subject isn't flat in the middle of the photo, unless that's what you really want to do. But you're paying attention to space, negative space.
Right.
You're paying attention to the frame. How close are they to the frame? Like if I was sitting here all night talking to you, you guys, that would kind of feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable. Or if I was down here, you see, hey, you guys, I want to teach you some stuff. You be like, who's this joker trying to teach me something?
And then one day you'd have a crank in your back.
Yeah, right.
You ain't walking right tomorrow.
I ain't gonna be walking right tomorrow. I'll be like, I'll be like, what's up? that probably would not work.
Okay.
All right. So
yeah, I got it.
And then perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about, okay, where does most people see this photo from? And then try something different. Like put the camera down lower, put the camera up high. You heard Melissa say she was trying to do something with the lighting, so she put the camera up high. Yeah. You know, come underneath something. You know, if there's like if this was over here or something, it's hard to do it there. But I would take the photo through this thing so that it looks like I'm here. Like it gives some mystery, you know. Yeah. Create stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna share one more thing before we roll out. I just wanted to I meant to share this earlier. Where's the basics? And where's Shelly? So I sent this to you when we first started, but this is the photos that Shelly took of these high schoolers with the idea of what are you doing for your mental health? And so each one of them was telling a story about their mental health and what they do, from the lacrosse team, football, whatever. Okay. And so they all she's a she does the games at the high school, one of the track people. You know, these were all kids at the high school, but down at the bottom you see right here it says Shelly Gulling Photography. She used this Gooding photography. She did this in Canva in class, and everybody thought it was so cool because she just picked like a font, right? And you can see her logo right here, right? She
Mhm.
took a S and a G, and then she created, and now she puts this on her photos. Okay. But this was her expose reflection. He's in his car looking in the mirror. That's a pretty cool shot
I like it too.
because it's through the mirror, right? He's looking in the lens, right? They were talking about, these are twins, and one is a musician, the other one is a football player. And they were all just talking about just the different things. This guy was phenomenal listening to his story. You know, he's into Zen and really cool stuff, you know. Cooking and making stuff was her Zen space, you know. So this guy right all here, he was also a cook, and he cooks for his parents, his mom mainly, you know, when he gets home from school. And look at this. This was her black and white photos that she did. That's awesome, right?
It is. I like that
This is
better.
her macro.
Mm-hmm.
She took this class. She didn't know much about anything when she started, right? And then over time, it became this. This was one of her phenomenal shots. Out in the wilderness, she took this shot. This kind of like sparked her whole like, hey, I think I want to do this photography thing. And so I want to encourage you to don't stop taking photos, but you can reach out to me at any time. You have my number, you have my info, you have my email, and much success to you on your journey. And thank you very much for participating in class and sticking from the beginning to the end. It's really
Yeah.
important.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yep.
Any other questions, anyone? With that, I'll say adjourn, adieu, adieu. How they say that in adieu, right? Adieu. Adieu. How about adios? I'll change the language.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Yes. I don't know. I saw a bagel. I saw a Winnebago. So anyway, have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you
reach
for
out.
your time. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Reach out and let us know how we did. Okay.
All
All right. Thank
Take care.
you.
All
Take
right.
care.
We'll see you. Hmm.